I also say, when my kids came up here for the RNC convention 4 or 5 weeks ago, the one place they really wanted to go was the Cheese Castle. So, if you've all, how many of you have been to the Cheese Castle? All right, good. So my kids have been to the Cheese Castle. The first time I ever came to Wisconsin was 12 years ago with my then girlfriend, now my wife. We made our stop at the Wisconsin Cheese Castle, so every time we come back, we got to stop at the Wisconsin Cheese Castle. But it's good to be here, and we love this state. Other local reporters, ma'am.
Hi, Megan Marshall with Spectrum News. This is the second endorsement from a local law enforcement here in Wisconsin. Tell me why that's so important to you and your campaign.
Well, I think it speaks to the fact that law enforcement knows who's on their side, right? Donald Trump has been endorsed by so many law enforcement organizations across the country, but now 2 in the state of Wisconsin just the past week, because they know that Donald Trump is the one who's actually going to stand up for them and support them. I mean, look, we have got real problems in law enforcement recruitment in this country, and certainly right here in the state of Wisconsin. A lot of our police departments are underfunded and under-resourced. We don't have enough cops to do the job of keeping us safe. And then on top of that, we've got Mexican drug cartels operating as far north as Kenosha, Wisconsin, because we have a border czar, Kamala Harris, who refuses to do her job. These guys just want common sense back, right? Some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans. Maybe they agree or disagree with us on tax policy, but they agree with us that we've got to have common sense public safety. And if we don't have public safety, we don't have anything. You can't build a business. You can't go to work. You can't take your kids on a walk in your neighborhood without public safety. Public safety is the foundation of having a good country, and the police of Wisconsin know Donald Trump is the public safety candidate. A few more locals, ma'am, yes.
Yeah, I'm Hannah Hillard with Channel 12 from up in Milwaukee. Obviously, there is a big event happening not too far away from here over in Chicago. Did you catch any of the DNC tonight, or last night? If you did, what were your immediate thoughts?
Well, my immediate thoughts were all the people booing. I agree with them. That was my response to it, was boo. I watched little bits and pieces of it. We were out campaigning yesterday, so I got home to Cincinnati a little on the later side yesterday, so I watched some of it. I will say just the contrast between the public safety policies of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is really striking, and it's almost a joke to me that they held it in Chicago, which has become the murder capital of the United States of America thanks to very failed Democrat leadership. I mean, I believe last weekend in the city of Chicago, you had something like 40 shootings and 17 people who lost their lives. That is something that we would not accept in a third world country, much less in one of our beautiful, great American cities like Chicago. And my little theory about why they decided to have the convention in Chicago is, Tim Walz has been going around saying that he served in war, and maybe they did it in Chicago so that he could actually accurately say that he visited a combat zone. Because Chicago, I mean, look, Chicago has violent crime statistics that actually mirror, again, third world, highly violent countries. Again, public safety is the birthright of every citizen in this country. Poor or rich, black or white, nobody should be growing up in a community where you have a murder rate like that. And I think it is a good contrast between the policies of Kamala Harris that promote violent crime and the criminals who do it, and the policies of Donald J. Trump who promote peace, who promote prosperity, and want to throw the violent criminals behind bars. That's what Donald J. Trump wants to do, and I share that. What? Anybody else here? Ma'am? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is
Hey.
Stephanie Quirk with Fox 6 News in Milwaukee. Kind of going off the DNC, Vice President Kamala Harris is paying a visit to Milwaukee tonight, holding a rally. Do you have any response to that?
No response. Look, I mean, Kamala Harris is going to run the campaign that she runs. I would say that I wish that she would do what I'm doing right now, which is talk to the media and actually answer some tough questions. I mean, if you think what I'm doing here right now, what am I asking? The question I'm asking is for the fine people gathered to vote for me to be their vice president of the United States. What an awesome responsibility, and what an incredible thing that I'm asking them to do. Now, Kamala Harris is going around asking people to be their president of the United States, but she won't answer a single tough question, and she won't interact with the American people unless there's a teleprompter standing between them and her. And I think that's crazy. And I think that what the media has got to start doing is it's got to start saying, look, if Kamala Harris is not going to stand and answer some tough questions, we're going to stop giving her this fake fawning coverage. Demand that she do what any president has had to do, which is answer some tough questions. But look, her argument, I can't get over this, because you watch her rallies, and Kamala's argument is something that I could not stay with a straight face. She stands there and says on day one, she's going to tackle the housing affordability crisis in our country. On day one, she's going to tackle the grocery affordability crisis in our country, and they are crises. Well, Kamala, day one was 3.5 years ago. You've been the vice president for 3.5 years. What the hell have you been doing for all that time? So for the people in Milwaukee who are going to go to her rally or going to listen to what she says, I just ask them, if she has such good ideas for how to bring down the cost of food and groceries and housing, why doesn't she do it now? She's the vice president. Not talk about what she's going to do in 6 months. Do it now, because she's got the power right now. Thank you. Any other locals? Okay, we'll do a couple nationals, and then we got to hit the road. Go ahead, ma'am.
Senator Merl Cornfield from the Washington Post. I have a policy question for
Great.
you. We don't want to talk about policy? So my question is, before you were in the Senate, there was the vote on the Violence Against Women Act. And one of the hiccups with negotiating that bill was, should people who are convicted of stalking be able to possess firearms? What do you think about that?
Well, look, I think that we certainly don't want violent criminals to have access to weapons. And that includes people, I think, who have been convicted of stalking. But I think it's important to say convicted. And what a lot of those of us who are pro-Second Amendment, what we don't want is, we don't want somebody to have their gun rights taken away when they haven't actually been in a court of law, right? Whether it's a First Amendment right, a Second Amendment right, any right, you are entitled to due process in this country. And so the criticisms that I've seen of that are not that certainly people who are convicted of a crime, they should not be able to carry a firearm. But people who have not gone through due process, they still have their rights, whether First Amendment, Second Amendment, whether walking around liberty or other rights. And I think that's an important distinction here between our approach and the Democrats' approach. We don't believe in the Republican Party that you should take people's rights away unless they've gone through a court of law.
Hi, Senator. Kit Maher, CNN. I know Donald Trump has been reported. She's one of the good CNN reporters. There's like two of them. She's okay. Back to my question. So Donald Trump has enlisted the help of Tulsi Gabbard to prep for his debate. I'd like to know how you were prepping for a debate with Tim Walz, who has described himself as a bad debater. Who's helping you, and how are you prepping?
Well, I found a good friend from back home who embellishes and lies a lot, and I'm having him stand in for Tim Walz. That's what we're doing during our debate. But look, all kidding aside, what we're going to do is we're going to focus a lot on policy, right? The way that I'm trying to prepare is to try to make sure that we're prepared to answer the American people's questions on how we're going to make their lives better, how we're going to make their communities safer, how we're going to bring back prosperity and low prices to the American economy. And we're going to focus on policy, and then obviously we're going to answer whatever questions the moderators have. That's how we're focusing. And by the way, just on President Trump, we have to remember, Tulsi Gabbard was a Democratic congresswoman just a few years ago. She ran against Kamala Harris back in 2020, and now she is firmly behind the Trump-Vance ticket. We're actually the ticket that is supported by common sense people across the spectrum. I think Tulsi Gabbard, you saw her. I mean, she basically ended Kamala's campaign on the debate stage, so she's a hell of a debater. But she's also one of these people who believes in some common sense things, like we shouldn't send America's sons and daughters off to fight in stupid wars, right? Amen to that, Tulsi. And I think it's really telling that the campaign that has brought a lot of Democrats and Republicans and independents together, it's the campaign of Donald J. Trump. And that's very important. We'll do one more question. Sir.
Hey, Senator. Zach Alishak, Washington Examiner. I had a question. Last year, you got a lot of attention for visiting striking UAW members in Ohio. Last night, Sean Fain attacked you at the DNC and Donald Trump. Do you believe the party's going to attract more union voters this cycle, and kind of what's the strategy to do that?
Look, I think that my message to Sean Fain and any other leader of the labor movement would be, who is the campaign? Which campaign is actually going to protect the jobs of American workers, union and non-union alike? It's the campaign of Donald J. Trump. So sign up, get involved, and support the candidate that's actually going to protect your jobs. Now, Sean Fain, he'll go on TV and say that a majority of his membership is going to actually back Donald Trump. Why are a majority of auto workers going to back Donald Trump? The same reason a majority of American manufacturers across the spectrum are going to back Donald Trump, because he's the one who wants to protect their job. He's the one who's saying, if the Chinese want to use slave labor and then import stuff into our country, we're going to put tariffs on the stuff they make with slave labor, and we're going to protect the jobs of American workers. When Kamala Harris says she stands for the United Auto Workers, and yet she supports EV mandates that's going to have every single one of their jobs destroyed and shipped to China, because it's China that's making most of the EVs. In America, we're still making a lot of gas-powered cars. I think people ought to be able to drive whatever the hell they want, because this is the United States of America. We don't tell people what to do. But importantly, if we don't tell people what to do, they're going to be able to buy cars that are made in America with American workers doing the jobs. And that is why I think we're going to win the majority of union and non-union workers in this country. Whatever Sean Fain says, if he listens to his membership, they're behind Donald J. Trump. And, of course, there are a lot of other workers who aren't just auto workers who are exactly the same position. All right. What I'll say here finally to wrap up, thanks to the media for asking a few questions, is just God bless you guys. Thank you for coming out. I get so much joy and so much energy out of being here and meeting people and getting to talk to people and seeing what's going on in this country. We're going to win this race in November, and it's going to start right here in Wisconsin. So what I'd ask all of you is, look, we've got 76 days to this campaign, and early voting probably starts, 30 days early in Wisconsin? Get out there. Get your neighbors to the polls. Get your family members to the polls. Knock on doors. Make phone calls. We are going to win this race if we get out there and vote. So God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Let's go vote, Wisconsin. Let's go win in November, and let's take this country back and do it the right way. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here.